we have a very special guest with us today. We have with us Mouza Romaithi. She is the Director of Cybersecurity at ADQ, and she's joining us in the studio for a fireside chat with Cherry and myself. Welcome to the studio, Mouza.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for sparing your time this morning.
Thank you.
To join us for the talk. We had a conversation earlier about just getting to know each other, and what I found is there's so many points of resonance. I personally am a cybersecurity researcher and an entrepreneur and a pen tester, and I just got to know that you're also very passionate about cybersecurity, passionate about pen testing. So we just like to have an informal conversation with you about your journey, your passion, your thoughts, and the type of messages that you would wish to convey to those who you mentor currently and those who you would like to mentor in the future. Welcome once again, and would you introduce yourself and your current role to the audience, please?
Of course. Thank you very much, Somal, for this warm welcome. Thank you for hosting me here today. My name is Mouza Romaithi. I'm Director of Cybersecurity. I've been in this role fairly recently, actually. I've joined ADQ in May. Prior to that, I've worked in the cybersecurity realm for over 13 years. A mix, actually, between IT and cybersecurity. So I started my career actually in the IT field and then moved to specialize in cybersecurity, especially after I got my master's degree.
Okay.
And from there, I did not change the field that I'm in. I enjoy it. I have so much passion for that, and I mean it when I say I have so much passion, in such a way that I don't only say that we need to practice cybersecurity. I also practice it myself and try to get my hands-on experience on a lot of areas. So, I mean, the realm of cybersecurity is huge, right?
Yes.
And it's not about just, compliance is one part of it, but then there are fun aspects of part of it. I'm not saying compliance is not, but I'm saying that there are also other fun aspects of it, like penetration testing, malware analysis, if you're into that, working with the different security solutions. There's tons of things that you really can. There's a huge opportunity to learn and grow in that area.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. What got you excited about cybersecurity in your career?
Right. So I think the shift happened when I entered the master program of cybersecurity. That's when I discovered that, yes, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
And I'm glad I was in an organization. So at that point, I was in Emirates Identity Authority. And at that point, the organization actually supported me and moved me from a typical IT job and moved me to the cybersecurity role.
Right.
And from there, I was like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is where I've been ever since. So initially, when we started with the ISO 27000 implementation. So I went into the compliance training. I went into the audit part of it, and we pretty much were focusing on risk management, that sort of thing. Later on in my career, I shifted more into the technical aspect of it, and that's where I found out that I really enjoy conducting penetration testing, and I was, in my own time, practice it at home. I have, not a lab, but a mini lab that I have at home, where I can, practice and try out different tools. There's tons of open source solutions that you can try and play around with, and it's an excellent learning opportunity. And that's how helped build up my skill set in that area.
You're a true hacker at heart, actually.
I think so.
And the term hacker somehow took a very wrong turn in mainstream media, but it's not about doing bad things. It's about essentially thinking out of the box.
Right.
And making things do stuff that they were not supposed to do.
Exactly.
Like, I'll give an example. In rural India, there's one region of rural India which purchases the most number of washing machines. This is farmland.
Wow.
So the Whirlpool decided, like, hey, why are these guys buying the most number of washing machines and they're not selling in cities? Turns out that they're using washing machines to make lassi, the buttermilk drink, because it can churn 40 liters of lassi in one go.
Yeah.
They give you lassi through a washing machine. That's a hack. And that is the smartest hack of them all.
That's very interesting.
And that's what draws me into the field, and I can see that that's what draws you into the field as well, because
Absolutely.
you're not satisfied with what's given to you. You want to play with it on your own,
Exactly.
see where you can push it to the next level.
Absolutely.
In terms of both threats and defense.
Right.
I also there's also two types of personalities I've seen in cybersecurity, and two very sharp types of personality. Those who do not wish to own it, like, oh, this is given to me, but I'd rather it just goes away. And there are folks like you who own it. So what makes you own this? I heard you say earlier that you do not wish to move out of cybersecurity.
No.
What keeps you in daily?
What keeps me in actually is, so with cybersecurity, the one aspect that, or one of the many aspects actually that really attracts me is, there's something new every day.
Yes.
And there's a new challenge that we need to tackle every day. This is what keeps it, it's not a routine job. If the person that thinks it's a routine job, then they're probably not practicing it as they should. Because there's tons to do, there's tons of opportunity for learning. And I would encourage, especially people who think it's more of a routine job, is to try different aspects of it. And they would come to discover, no, that it's not as routine as they think it is. And in fact, if we don't really hone our skills, that's a very good way of putting it, then attackers will always stay ahead of us. And
Yes.
this is what we see. Attackers always stay ahead of us because we're just playing catch up.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
And how do you hone your skills yourself? Like, what keeps you updated personally?
Right. So other than what I do personally, I really like to take different security courses. That's important. But if that opportunity is not there, so what I do is I go for the free learning resources that are out there. There are tons out there that you can just need to sit. There are many videos on YouTube. You can come and try different aspects of security. Build your own lab. I wouldn't call it a lab really. It's just spin up some virtual machines, install some things on it, play around with it. That helps really.
Yes.
And it doesn't need that much to set up something to work on it. So that's what I did. So I have my mini lab.
Right.
And I try different techniques. So I played around with Metasploit a lot.
Nice.
I played around with packet crafting a lot. I played around with the defensive side. So it's not only about the attack side, but I played around with the defensive side, set up the firewall, make it harder for attackers to break in. So that helped me, build a perspective of how we should secure our infrastructure. And I take all these lessons learned by myself. I take all these lessons learned and take them forward in the organization I work for. And I say, okay, we need to do things differently because, attackers can come this way. Because I've tried it. I know how attackers can bypass security controls. This helped me personally, and I really encourage people to really try and work on their own as much as possible. Be self-driven. You need to be self-driven in cybersecurity.
Yes. I think that's a very important point you mentioned. It's you have to be self-driven because nobody's going to be able to do it for you.
Exactly.
And in terms of the landscape, as you mentioned, right, things are changing so fast. We're always trying to play catch up. I am an entrepreneur. You are a leader, a practitioner of cybersecurity in a large organization. But both of us see two areas of challenges. There's the technical challenges that we face on a daily basis. And there's the non-technical or the human challenges. Technologies keep upgrading, but humans are humans.
Right.
As a leader, how do you tackle both these challenges on a daily basis? What are your tips for mastering these challenges?
Of course. So yes, the human aspect is there, but the way I would approach, especially the human aspect, having that security awareness program is important, but designing it in such a way that the message actually reaches the audience is even more important. So yes, we can have that 1 hour session briefing, just telling our employees that okay, you need to follow this security practice. These are the password policies. You need to do 1, 2, 3. But then after 1 hour, people, or maybe even after the first 10 minutes, people lose concentration, right? So this is where I think it's important to team up, especially with your communication team. How we can, design the message in such a way that people will follow it. It's easy to understand. People will follow it, and they understand the importance of it. So we can address the human aspect that way, and it's important also to have that leadership buy-in and the management support. If we have that, then it will cascade down. If we push it bottom up, it might not work. So that's a key aspect. And the technology aspect of it, I see that it's still driven by people, right?
Yes.
We need to train those people that are working on those technology to make sure that they have the right skills to configure or to set up our infrastructure in such a way that where the cyber resilience is improved. We continuously review our firewall rules. We continuously improve our signature. We continuously improve our settings, our hardening controls, all those sort of things. But it's important, even from that area, to focus on the people aspect of things.
That's an excellent point that you make. Are there any? I'm sure you've had many. Like any specific aha moments that you wish to call out in your own career, in terms of both discovery of new stuff as well as tackling a very complex challenge in a successful way?
Look, initially what I would not, so when I first started in this leadership role, how I would approach cybersecurity, I would say we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. That I saw that was not the right approach, because that got a lot of resistance. Right. Because here I am as a team telling the business how they should do their business without actually involving them in the decision of why we should do security in this way, right? So I changed my approach in the last few years drastically in such a way that these decisions shouldn't come from security. These decisions should come in line with business. We agree with business. Yes, this is how we should approach things. And I found out that this approach got more agreement.
Right.
There might be some resistance here, but that's fine. I expect that to happen. But at the end of the day, as long as we reach to a certain understanding and a certain buy-in, it becomes easier to implement the program going forward.
I've heard this theme that you mentioned is a very common theme amongst all successful cybersecurity leaders, is that if the alignment doesn't happen, none of you succeed. Neither the business succeeds nor the cybersecurity. I'm very glad you've synthesized that and brought that into the picture.
I wouldn't say I learned the hard way, but I learned. So
here's the secret: everybody learns the hard way. It's there is no easy way in cybersecurity. It's personally never happened for me. Every gray hair on my head is the hard way story at some point or the other, and there are many. In terms of changes, what have you seen change across the landscape, and what has changed but not really changed, if you wish to highlight that for the audience?
So from a landscape, might sound cliche, but the pandemic caused a lot of changes in the landscape. So today, the perimeter is no longer the perimeter, right? Initially, people would come to work and, we have that perimeter firewall that protects us, so on. Today, we don't have that, right? Where is the perimeter anymore? People working from home, and how do we, so perimeter expand. And people not only work from home, but they work from different geographical locations, not necessarily in UAE, but maybe outside UAE. So how do we make sure we cover that? How do we make sure we secure all these areas? So that presented a new challenge for us. We need to rethink security that, okay, maybe our perimeter firewall is not what we should focus on anymore. We should focus on the actual perimeter today. So that's one of the main things that we're focusing on. And the second thing, how do we ensure still with people working in different geographical locations, how do we ensure that they still get that awareness, they still get that knowledge aspect of it? So that is key, I think. We tackle those two, not the only two, but one of those two aspects. Then we understand we can reprioritize where we should focus on.
That's actually, you're right. The pandemic has blown apart the concept of the perimeter. There is no perimeter. There are just people, and there are assets, and people can be anywhere. And assets can be anywhere too. Exactly. It's entirely true. I am actually pleasantly surprised that the world continued working through the pandemic. It, in a way, did not disrupt. It brought a few bumps into the picture, but somehow we as a world overcame it, and we continued. Going ahead, right? We're kind of seeing the tail end of the pandemic. I hope, I pray. What kind of positive changes has the pandemic caused in your workforce that you would wish to continue, and you'd wish that is also adopted by other organizations worldwide?
That's a good point. Honestly, when the pandemic happened, so the change and the shift to work from home happened pretty quickly. And I wouldn't say we had no say in it, but that we had to support it. And perhaps maybe we're not ready to shift that into that, but we had to, at some point, look back and work on it. And I found out that because still, the organization wants to monitor what employees were doing, because at the end of the day, data has been at this moment distributed in different locations. How do we protect that data? So when we came up with a model on how to secure this information, with people working remotely, that got acceptance. So I feel like that the changes, the suggestions we made got more listened to, because at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? Trying to prevent a breach, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like this is positive, and I feel like organizations are really starting to listen to security and embedding it in that business decision.
That's a very good point you make. You mentioned about the human aspect a number of times during our discussion, and I personally believe spending any time in helping our team members grow their skills is always time well invested. And what would your thoughts, mentorship messages be to everyone that you mentor and would mentor in the future?
Right. I have one message: never stop. Keep learning. That's key. And we're happy to support. Personally, I'm happy to support passionate people, self-driven people. If we find that caliber, we're more than happy to push them, challenge them to grow in that area. But key thing is never stop.
That's most important. The other key thing is you've been a practitioner by example. You've done it by getting your hands dirty. You've not waited on, things being delivered to you. And I see there's a number of youngsters coming into the cybersecurity landscape. Right. They're starting out their careers. Like when folks like me started out, there were very few resources. Like we didn't even have broadband internet. It came a little later in my career. If we wanted to find how to do things, we had to search through some papers, articles, and try it ourselves.
You can't Google it.
I'm sorry?
You can't Google it.
We cannot Google it. We cannot Google it. There's no YouTube walkthrough of it. There's nothing, right? But today there's everything aplenty. So a kid walks into the cybersecurity, a student walks in, there's everything around. How would you help the students pick and choose their battles? And what would your message be for them to, like, what is it that's going to drive them to excellence and not just mediocrity?
Okay. I'll start first of all by saying, know why you picked cybersecurity. If you know why you picked it, it's a very challenging field. And if you do not challenge yourself every day to learn something new, maybe this field is not for you. That's one. So understand why you want to go into cybersecurity, not just because it's required in the market, there's a gap. Yes, of course, we need more people in cybersecurity. 100%. We need the right people. So know why you want to go into cybersecurity. That's number one. Secondly, as I mentioned, have people to self-learn. That's key, and never stop, and pick the right organizations to work for. So there might be certain organizations that really focus on cybersecurity and help you, and certain organizations where the attackers focus on, maybe financial, those sectors. Those are the kind of sectors that you might be interested in working for and help hone your skills. I would say work on everything. Work on penetration tests. Try to understand. Download Wireshark and look at the packets. Try and understand each and every packet, what it does. I know it sounds very tough and very challenging, but why not?
Yeah.
That's how you learn, right?
Yeah, that's the only way you learn, by actually doing it.
Exactly.
The hard work.
Exactly. It might sound cumbersome. At first, it might be challenging. You have tons of free resources. Use them. So that's the message I really want to give. And look, there are a lot of programs I've seen. I mean, we have these, for example, the Cybersecurity Council. They've signed an agreement, to bring in interns. So there is a huge emphasis on it, focusing on this sector. We want to bring more professionals into the market. So if you're the right person, if you like this field, there's tons of support, and I'm sure, with time you'll be situated in the right, in the right position, and you'll be able to lead cybersecurity going forward.
Pick your battles wisely, know what you're getting into, and do it yourself. That's fantastic. You reminded me I need to go and pick up Wireshark once again and play with packets. It's been a long time since I do it. It makes me feel so comfortable now, You're probably one of the very few security leaders who still plays around with packets that I've seen. It gladdens me that there are people out there.
I'd like to do it more often, but if we had even 1 hour extra in the day, it would be a blessing.
Probably we can make it happen at Hack in the Box next time.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
We should just have, like an invite only, Chattermouse rules.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in and just have an unfiltered time, focused time.
Absolutely.
Break a few things and then we'll learn. That's how we'll learn as well.
Absolutely. And look, these opportunities like Hack in the Box, I mean, going back to the, student aspect, really, I would encourage them to take advantage of such events. They come maybe every now and then, but take advantage, really. There are a lot of professionals that we can talk to. We can learn a lot from them. Talk to different people, really expand your horizon. Maybe, even in cyber, maybe you're comfortable with pen testing. Maybe you like something else later on. Why not? Explore what you like and go for it.
Yeah.
Always push your boundaries.
Always push your boundaries. Right. Mouza, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Are there any closing comments that you'd like to share with the audience about your thoughts or about Hack in the Box, especially?
I would say maybe the main message really is continue learning, continue interacting, continue talking to security professionals. You know, you learn something every day. I would say continue, keep on continuing. I'm learning something every day. I'm happy, I'm blessed that I'm in such an opportunity that I can learn and I can take part in certain such conferences. So I'm glad I'm here. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it, and I hope I was able to, you know, share some of my experience, inspire some people, hopefully, to pursue cybersecurity.
Thank you very much. Thanks for leading by example. Thanks for telling our audience what it takes to be a cybersecurity leader.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time.